YTBC. This is your boy Coach Shelton Harrison, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out here right now. If you are completely uncomfortable about talking with the topic of race, then you need to go directly to another video. You don't even need to listen to this video because you're gonna have to roll your sleeves up for this. If you leave any stupid comments in my comment section, I'm going to block you, and I'm also going to delete your comments. Now we can disagree. We can disagree as men in the YTBC. I have no problems with that. You don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. This is clearly my opinion, okay? But you can disagree with me civilly, okay? And so now, with that being said, let's get right into the content. So this morning I was watching a little preview. It was an Outside the Lines preview about Floyd Mayweather. And at first when I saw the topic, I'm like, okay, this will be interesting. But then when I began to kind of finish reading the title, I'm like, domestic violence. Okay, so I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, the fight is in less than a week now, and now they tend to write this article or do this feature on Floyd Mayweather's domestic violence, okay? So I began to get real intrigued. I'm like, why are they waiting right now to write a feature about this man's domestic violence right now, okay? You see, first of all, I'm going to go ahead by starting out that I don't think a man should hit a woman at all. And I'm telling you this point blank, a man should never hit a woman. In fact, it's even worse for an athlete like Floyd Mayweather because his hands are registered weapons. They're registered, which means that, your hands can kill somebody. Okay? You're registered weapons. Any man, athlete, anybody, you should never hit a woman. And that's just the way that is, okay? Okay, now, Floyd Mayweather did have they arrested him for domestic violence, but he had been acquitted of all of those charges, or the charges were dropped, okay? They were completely dropped. We don't know why they were dropped. We don't know if Josie or, any of his other baby mom dropped those charges. We just don't know, okay? But we know that he was acquitted of all of his domestic violence charges except for the one in 2012, which he spent 90 days in jail. He went to jail after he got through fighting Miguel Cotto. Okay, we know about that, okay? These are the ones that we know about, okay? Or that's the one that we know that he did time for, 90 days. Okay, his other charges were dropped. He was acquitted. He did his 90 days. He's paid his debt, okay? He's paid his debt. If that's all the legal system wanted to give him, really he did 60 days because he got off for good behavior. But if that's all the legal system wanted to give him was, 90 days, okay, he's paid his debt. So here's my thing. Why is it that ESPN, and I want to talk about ESPN being racist, okay? They have point blank just went out and they did two features. They did one Outside the Lines with Floyd Mayweather about his domestic violence. But then wouldn't you know, they did another ESPN The Roots about Manny Pacquiao. And guess what they're talking about with Manny Pacquiao? Oh, yeah. They're talking about, where he grew up at and his hard upbringing and how hard he had to work to get from A to B. That's what ESPN did with Manny Pacquiao, but they took another route with Floyd Mayweather. I want to tell you guys something about racism, okay? Racism, pretty much, nowadays, they don't come out into the open anymore. Racists, they don't come in the open and let you know that they're racist. They use, really, really underlining things to let you know that they are racist, but they're racist. Okay, this whole thing about Mayweather and all this stuff that he's done is completely racial bias. And I'm about to go ahead and I'm going to prove it to you, okay? You see, here's the thing. ESPN could have took a lot of different things. They could have took a lot of different things, a lot of different angles on how to talk about Floyd Mayweather. But they chose the most negative thing that they can find. And y'all, and I want you people to understand, no, I'm not saying that domestic violence is right. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to say it for one person, you need to say it for everybody. If you're going to say it for one, you need to say it for all, okay? See, so it seems like ESPN and the news media, you guys only think that the only person that's capable of domestic violence is Floyd Mayweather Jr., okay? Let me go ahead and give you guys a rundown of people and, people who have done domestic violence that really they have swept us under the rug and you don't hear about it anymore. Let's talk about our good old boy, the Igo Silver in the UFC. Yeah, the Igo. Yeah, buddy, we're talking about you, the Igo Silver. Okay? He has beaten his wife up on numerous occasions. The police have been to his house on numerous occasions for him beating up his wife or him getting allegations or getting phone calls that he's attacking his wife. This guy was held up inside of his own house by the SWAT team. They kicked the door down to his house and they tased this man because he was trying to run. They tased this man. They shot this man with a taser. They shot him with a taser. He was shot with a taser. The SWAT team don't come to your house unless there's an imminent threat. And unfortunately, he was an imminent threat. He was an imminent threat to his wife. He was an imminent threat. He was an imminent threat to his own wife, and they came into his house and they tased him because he was beating her up. And that's just the way that is. But no, what does Dana White do? He got an article right here. Okay, I'm going to read you guys the article. The article is right here. And what Dana White chose to do, hey, he said he didn't do these things. He said, that's what he said. The Igo says he didn't do these things. And, you know, this man should be allowed to make a living. And I'm going to read the statement to you word for word for some of y'all people that can't read, okay? In the case of Silver, the UFC reversed course on Friday, terminating his contract. After re-signing the fighter early this month, Silver was arrested in Florida in February and charged with assaulting his estranged wife. In one attack, he allegedly stuck a gun in the woman's mouth when she screamed. Whoa! In another incident, he was chased down by a SWAT team and subdued with a taser gun. The Broward County State Attorney dropped the charges after Silver's former wife stopped cooperating and apparently fled the country. Silver has denied harming her, and after the charges were dropped, the UFC president reinstated him, saying the fighter deserves to be able to make a living again. So, you're telling me that it didn't happen, Dana White? Is that what you're saying? Floyd said it didn't happen. Floyd said he never attacked Josie Harris. He said he never did. Floyd still maintains his innocence. You see where I'm going with this, y'all? You see where I'm going with this, ESPN? ESPN, I think you're a racist channel. I think you're racist, okay? Let's talk about somebody else, okay? Let's talk about Hope Solo. Oh, y'all didn't forget about Hope Solo. Yep, she beat up her 17-year-old nephew. Beat him up. Beat up her 17-year-old nephew. Where's the article on Hope Solo? Yep, they arrested her. She was accused, but then the charges were dropped. What about Hope Solo, y'all? What about that? Nobody want to talk about Hope Solo, and she crazy. Seriously crazy. But nobody wants to really bring that back up. You know why? Because it makes ESPN look really, 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 really bad. It makes the media look bad, and Hope Solo is the light of the media, so they loved Hope Solo. They loved her. But they don't want to talk about it. Nah, we don't want to talk about that. We can talk about other celebrities. What about Steven Segal? Beat his wife up on several occasions. This man's body is a lethal weapon. Igo Silver's body is a lethal weapon. It's a lethal weapon. That means that any part on his body just about could kill you. He could kill you with his feet. He could kill you with his bare hands. This man knows multiple ways to kill you. He is a lethal weapon. Nobody wants to talk about how Steven Seagal beat up his wife multiple times. Nobody want to talk about that. Nah. It's not even heavily publicized in the media. They swept it under the rug. They talked about it for all of about 4 days under the rug. Here it is now, 3 years removed, and they're still bringing up Floyd Mayweather's past, but they choose to do a documentary on Manny Pacquiao's past. Of course, all the good stuff. All the good stuff, okay? All the great stuff. Shoot, we can talk about, what about Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson, they got him, they arrested him for hitting his wife upside the head, but charges were dropped. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? But Mel Gibson gets a pass for this. Igo Silver gets a pass. Hope Solo gets a pass. Floyd Mayweather, man, every chance this man get, they want to throw this man under the bus. And I'm going to tell you why they do it. It's really, truly because this man lives a lifestyle that many of us will never be able to live. He lives a lifestyle that these reporters that's reporting on him, they'll never live that lifestyle. They are very envious of this man's lifestyle, and they want to see nothing but this man fail. You better bet your bottom. You better bet your bottom when this fight happens, every single news media person, they want to see this man lose. They want to see him fail at any cost. See, they can't stand the fact that this man has the lifestyle. They can't stand the fact that this man has a house that they'll never live in. They can't stand the fact that this man has cars that they'll never be able to drive. They can't stand the fact that this man has money coursing through his fingertips that they will never be able to see. They can't stand it. And because they can't stand it, Okay? They try to do anything they can to take this man off his pedestal. See, this man is not broken. He's not broken. He's not a model student, and he's not a role model for any matter. I can tell you that right now. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is no role model. But they want to see this image of the broken black man. They want to see this guy broken to the point where he no longer wants to acknowledge himself as great. And, you know, they want to see him broken up like Muhammad Ali. They want to see him broken, you know, broken down like Joe Frazier was at the end of his career. They want to see him broken. And then and only then when this man has become broken is when they will acknowledge this man really is a good fighter. You see, now I'm thinking that we're talking about the fight. We're not talking about the fight. We're still talking about the man character, okay? We're talking about the man character and what the man is doing. And we're talking about the man as an evil person. Evil is a strong word. But see, what about Hope Solo, y'all? What about that? What about the Igo Silver? This man was held up inside, you know, he was held up inside of his own house by the SWAT team until they kicked the door in and tased his butt for beating his wife. And I tell you, I give you another example of a double standard. How about Anthony Johnson had a domestic violence dispute, which again, his body is a lethal weapon. Now, he shouldn't be touching his wife, or it was his ex-girlfriend, but guess what? Guess what? He was cut from the USC. They let him out of his contract, and he ain't coming back. And I'm just telling y'all, guys, it's not the fact that, oh, well, domestic violence, yeah, you know, man, you just over-exaggerating, coach. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So Igo Silver can have the SWAT team at his house. He can be tased in his behind, and he can still be let back into his contract because the allegations were dropped and his wife fled the county. You know, if your witnesses flee and they can never testify, you know you're going to be acquitted if you know anything about the law. If there's one witness who can, who can actually expose you, and if they can't find them, then you're going to get acquitted. Well, they can't find her, so of course he's going to get acquitted. Anthony Johnson, no, he was let go. And you know, there was evidence too. There was evidence of Igo Silver beating his wife. Oh, there was evidence. True evidence. The lady was beat up, had bruises, but she fled. But Igo says, hey, I didn't do it. And everybody ran with that, and we believed that. Floyd says, I didn't do it. There are no pictures. He still, to this day, says, I didn't do it. But I took a lesser plea because I didn't want to get caught up in court for years. That's what Floyd said. But why can't they do that? Oh, but guess what, though? You know, they don't want to talk about Manny Pacquiao's sketchy past. No, they want to do a series on him, talking about, you know, how hard it was for him to grow up. You know, Manny was not, you know, isn't a woman beater. You know, he hadn't been convicted of one, or nobody's ever found out any evidence otherwise. But however, this man beat up many people. This man was an alcoholic, got drunk, went to bars, and got into bar fights. I mean, that's known. This ain't even nothing I'm making up. Manny got in bar fights. He beat people up in bars. He was always drunk. You know, Manny did drugs. I mean, did drugs, and he slept with prostitutes. People, but they didn't choose to do a documentary on Manny's sketchy past about him being a role model. Nope. You know what? They show Manny at an altar. They show him praying. They show him doing the stuff that the media want us to see. But you know what? All that stuff is just smoke and mirrors, okay? What about it? What about his past? What about the Igo Silver? What about even Mel Gibson? What about Hope Solo? What about the Igo Silver? What about these people that's doing the same things that they do not want to publicly criticize these athletes on, but they only choose to publicly criticize Floyd Mayweather? It's like that's the only athlete that they ever want to criticize in the media because he is the richest man in the sport of boxing, and they can't stand it. And that's just the way that is. This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harrison. I'm done.